Good evening, everybody. 34th episode of No Punches Pulled, coming to you live and direct. JFT, Liam Tully in the building. Boys, ready for a jam-packed show as usual?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Always good to be back together, the three of us. Me and Sam obviously done the weekend, which was good fun. Actually, one of those rare nights that were worth pulling through for, wasn't it, mate? But yeah, there's plenty to get.
Can you believe for the first time in forever, I'm up, ready, wide-eyed. I had the worst headache I've ever had. I just couldn't do it. I was in so much pain. I was absolutely devastated. So I didn't watch. I had to just stay off socials, and I watched it at whatever time I messaged you boys, 6:30, 7 a.m. when I got back up.
Something like that.
So I was gutted, but no, I've watched back the watch along and rewatched the fight. So great work, boys, as always. Fantastic viewing.
Top man, JFT. Yeah, quick nod on Boots Ennis. He shut the three of us up, didn't he?
Absolutely. Didn't he just? I kept waiting for him to be in a fight. I mean, it did look like he was in a fight for 4 or 5 minutes, maybe a minute and a half the second round, but he just sort of turned it up a gear. But I will say this, Stanionis has come straight off the couch pretty much.
Yeah.
To fight one of the best guys in the division. So, you know, whatever we say about Boots, we have to also bear in mind that Stanionis probably could have done with a fight prior to this, but that's hindsight. We all said that, you know, he was good enough to take this opportunity, and I was saying that Boots struggled at the weight, which could still be a contributing factor in him moving forward. But as you said at the start, Sam, you know, he did what we didn't think he could do, but didn't think Stanionis would allow him to do, and Stanionis sort of played into his hands. But props to Boots Ennis. He shut a lot of people up. I thought he'd struggle. I actually picked Stanionis, and he proved that he is the man in that division. So bravo, hats off, man. Fantastic performance.
Yeah, agree with what Jay's just said. And I said, as the fight was getting started, I hope Boots proves us wrong and makes a statement.
Let me answer that, Sam. Sorry, Liam. I'm ready.
I just didn't think it was going to happen. We couldn't see it. You look at his performances in 24, like we said, just didn't look like he had that performance in him. Yes, the caveat is Stanionis missing his flight and arriving late, plus it being nearly a year since he last fought, are all caveats to add to it. But what we can say is Jaron Ennis moved through the levels and didn't allow himself to coast, because he easily could have allowed that to go 12 rounds and take a wide points victory. But he put his foot down and he broke Stanionis down in the end. In his corner, pulling him out, saved him from ending up on his back. That's the reality of that. Boots put on a performance. And now it's, does he go after Barrios and Norman, or does he decide to move up to 154? Because we said, didn't we, Sam, he still looks really drawn and tight of the weight across his back.
Yeah.
Whilst he was fighting. So can he get himself down to 147 one more time?
Yeah, I think he'll definitely stay now, won't it? It's just a case of, I think Brian Norman's fighting Sasaki over in Japan. That'll be a decent fight, to be fair. And Barrios, I don't think, has got a fight scheduled as far as I know. So maybe they'll go to WBC unification. I don't think he'll have two more in him at 147. I have to be honest.
No, one. Yeah, I think it's interesting, isn't it, with Norman? He's obviously turned down a career high payday to mean main event unifying against Boots, his dad ruining it for him, to fighting on the Mayor Ryan undercard and now fighting out in Japan. It's kind of probably not the way he envisaged his last 6 months going, is it?
Yeah, definitely not going too well for Brian Norman Jr. But boys, the real reason we're here tonight, there's a few decent bits of boxing news debate that we can talk about after as well. Cough, cough, July 12th, Wembley. But we'll leave that one till the end. But Han History Vault is in the house, and he's put a nice little comment here that we can get stuck into. Hope you're well, my friend. Jay's itching at the bit, but look, we're not gonna trash Cameron. We're not gonna trash Whittaker. We're not even gonna trash Boxer. Oh, no, I'm joking. We are really. Jay, come on. Oh.
Can you hear me now? Here
we
go. Sorry. I'm just going to read out, it's not the full list. Shakur Stevenson, Joe Lydon, Rocky Juarez, Roy Jones, Virgil Hill, George Finnegan, Keyshawn Davis, Chris Bird, Michael Burke, Riddick Bowe. I suppose they're all trash as well, are they? Because they are also Olympic silver medalists. Put your fucking dummy back in your box and I will take that bet, young man. You can't call him trash. Listen, he is a prospect still, Olympic silver medalist or not. How many fights has he had? A handful? What's he had? 11 fights?
Yeah.
Right, okay. He's boxed somebody, you know, Liam Cameron, whatever you might think about Liam Cameron, decent level amateur boxer, ABA champion, turned over. He was a Commonwealth champion at middleweight, right? So he's a seasoned professional. We all know that Whittaker's turned over with this fanfare of being an Olympic silver medalist, or trash, as the Hand History Vault likes to call Olympic silver medalists. And he underestimated somebody under the lights. His cardio went, he had an adrenaline dump, and he looked for a way out. People are also quick to gloss over that if Grant Smith hadn't screamed at Liam Cameron to get his ass off the canvas, he too was staying down. I think he was pretending he was knocked out. People forget that, and we call him Whittaker. I'm not a Ben Whittaker super fan, but I'm a realist. He underestimated it and saw a way out for himself. But to just dismiss what he'd done in the lead up to that as him being trash, I think he's just silly. Because he's a fantastic boxer. He's got all the skills. He's just a gobshite, and that's what rubbed people up the wrong way. But guess what? We all want to watch him fight, win or lose. It's worked for some of the best people, some of the richest boxers in the sport have got by Floyd Mayweather, one of the greatest to ever lace up. 50% of the people that watched him, if not more, watched him because they could not stand him and wanted to watch him get knocked out. Whittaker is doing that exact same thing. I will caveat that with this. Excuse me. I know people that know him. I've only met him once. Randomly met him in a petrol station in the middle of, I think it was Coventry, somewhere like that, with a colleague. And I promise you now, he could not have been more opposite than the character that you see on television. He wanted to just chat. It was before he boxed remember the African kid who was banging on the head and stuff?
Yeah.
It was just before he boxed him. And he was coming to the tail end of his camp. So he's narky. He's trying to make weight. Last thing he wants to do is chat shit with some random guy in a petrol station forecourt. At one point, it got to the point where I thought, I better go now. Because he wasn't trying to get away. He had loads of time for me. He was talking about boxing. We talk about life in general. So I can't fault him because the only interactions I've had with him, he's a decent kid. But to call him trash, I think is disrespectful to Olympic boxing in general.
Absolute boxing in the building. Hope you're well, Jack. Thanks for stopping by, mate. Saw your video earlier on Whittaker Cameron too, so good work. Liam, Whittaker Cameron too. Obviously, we'll give our predictions tomorrow. Your show will be out as well on JFT tomorrow with predictions. So we'll save actual predictions for tomorrow. But highly controversial last couple of weeks, shall we say. I've watched numerous interviews with both Ben Shalom and Frank Warren. So Shalom's took ownership now of the fuck up basically from Boxer. Or the lawyers, whoever on earth it is that signed off on the 12-round deal on the contract. Ben Whittaker's been in camp for a 10-rounder, so I understand that. 12 rounds, no doubt, favours Liam Cameron based on experience. And Liam looks like he's crashed on the top of my screen. I don't know about
He's back.
He's back. Frank seems like he's digging his heels in. They're either paying him an astronomical amount of money or they're turning up for a 12-rounder. It's getting a bit messy, Liam.
Mate, it's Liam Cameron wasting more energy that for me should be going into his training as he's done the last 5 or 6 weeks. Ben Whittaker has gone radio silent in Dublin, other than that one video that Boxer films with him that came out the other day on their social media pages. Whereas Liam Cameron has been absolutely everywhere, moaning about the alleged size of the ring, moaning about the number of rounds, moaning about the late notice for the launch press conference. He's done everything he can to sort of paint Boxer and Ben Whittaker as the bad guy in this situation. And it's quite tiresome now. Look, the reality is, since Liam Cameron's come back from his ban, which we're not going to go into again, he's beaten at 18-27 and is 16-40. That's who he's beaten. He's lost to Lyndon Arthur. Yes, that was a competitive fight, but he lost it in the last 3 rounds. Ironically, if that Lyndon Arthur fight went 12 rounds, I think Liam was gassed and would have got stopped, but that's another story. And in his moment against Ben Whittaker, let me say this. He was turning the tides of the fight. He was on top at the time, and he may have stopped Ben that night, but it was only a draw. From the 5 rounds that were scored by the judges, it was a draw. So he hasn't actually beaten anyone of any real note since he's come back from his self-inflicted layoff, shall we say. I would have been more impressed if after the launch press conference we hadn't heard from Liam Cameron until the gloves are off came out on Sunday, until we see them in Birmingham this week. For me, so much hot air he's chatting. It's almost as if he's trying to find a way to still be relevant if Sunday night doesn't go to plan for him. And in terms of Ben Whittaker, I back up what Jay says. How many times do we see young talents that are a bit cocky, that are a bit brash, that people find a bit like Marmite as characters, have an acid test, and they may not pass it the first time, but when they then need to rectify it and go back and do it, they're able to. Look, Ben Whittaker has a lot to learn, and whilst I'm still the jury out if he's ever going to get to the level I thought he might have done when he first turned over, I believe he's going to be able to right this wrong. I'll leave my main prediction for tomorrow. Moving to Andy Lee is a massive thing for me because you boys know how high I am on Andy Lee, and I will tell you this. There may not be fundamental changes to the way Ben Whittaker fights yet. They've only had 8 or 9 weeks together. But Andy Lee will have cut out all the unnecessary BS that we see Ben Whittaker doing during fights. If you think a man like Andy Lee is going to allow Ben Whittaker to look around the ring or taunt opponents and stuff, it just doesn't happen.
Unnecessary wasted movement. That's what he'll tailor down.
Yeah,
it's a great move, Liam. I completely agree. It's a great move, and I think it's a great move for Hamza Shiraz as well, who was announced to Andy Lee this week. I think Andy Lee's brilliant. On with you. Evening, Humble Apple Crumble. Thanks for joining us. Thinks Whittaker gets to win this time. Sorry, Liam. Carry on, mate.
It's role reversals, mate, isn't it? Liam Cameron's gone to being the can't stay out of the media, kind of gobshite-like character that just needs to be on Talk Sport or on social media at least 2 or 3 times a week. That's how Ben Whittaker's been since he turned over. Like Jay says, his persona away from boxing. I mean, he goes to Comic-Con. He's got Marvel and tattoos and stuff on his body. He's very, very different outside of the ring to how he is inside the ring. But now's the time to knuckle down and switch on because he needs to make a statement. If he even edges the points decision on Sunday, then all the vitriol and all the boo boys and people that think he's trash, as we've seen from our friend Hand History Vote, are going to still be there. He needs to make a statement on Sunday, doesn't he?
Yeah. And Liam Cameron, who do you know how many times I've heard him say, I'm not into all this trash talking, me. I just want to get on, eat my chicken wrap and do my training. Then he's on Talk Sport.
Jay, once the gloves are off,
then he's on Boxer. Yeah, exactly. Gloves are off. Liam talked more than Ben, for God's sake. I mean, I wish Ben would front some of it instead of doing these stupid answers that he were doing. It was a little bit cringe, but look, Liam is doing what any of us would do. He's rinsing it for anything and everything he can get. Yes, Mitch. But I think we'll see a totally different Ben Whittaker at the weekend. Maybe not a totally different Ben Whittaker, a totally different Whittaker than we saw in that fight. I don't think Andy, as you said, Sam and Liam, I don't think any of the fundamentals, any of what got Ben to the dance, it makes no sense in Andy trying to change all that. I think Andy will just try increase certain aspects of his game, certain elements of his game, and get rid of other parts of his game.
Yeah, there hasn't been a fighter that's been to Andy Lee that hasn't in some way improved. Really, he's improved literally everybody who's been with. Evening, Pat. Hope you're well, mate. And evening, Mitch, as well.
Absolutely right. I think, and the thing is with Ben Whittaker, you don't need to make massive changes to how he boxes. What you do want to see is him put his foot on the gas a bit more, which you can say for lots of fighters, and cut out the unnecessary crap, which someone like Andy Lee should be able to do. You're not saying Ben Whittaker needs to completely revolutionise himself and become a different fighter. It's just the little things, isn't it? And for Liam Cameron, I mean, look, he's been an ex-Commonwealth champion, but he's even lost to the likes of Luke Blackledge going back to before his ban in his past career at super middleweight. He's got this Queensberry deal now, which is fantastic. Every boxer deserves a crack at having a deal with a top promoter at one point. But he needs to leave himself in a position after Sunday, Cameron, where Frank Warren actually wants to put him under the zone cards. Because there is a danger that he's talking himself out of that contract.
Well, listen, if he gets filled in at the weekend, it'll just be a test for up-and-coming boxers. That's what he'll get out of Frank. If he gets filled in at the weekend, we won't see him in another big fight. We'll see him as an opponent.
Yeah, Frank only signed him off the back of the first Whittaker fight.
Absolutely, because he saw he saw an opportunity for what we're having on Sunday. But if he gets flattened or easily beaten, he'll just be a named opponent. And I wish him nothing but the best. But I'm sick of hearing about it now. I just want to get these guys in. Antonio, did you get those crisps or what?
Yeah, big up Antonio. Yeah, has he got the Space Raiders yet?
Because if not, I've got more here waiting to stick in the post.
Space Raider man JFT. Sorry, Liam, if it's interesting all sorting style they've gotten the following.
I agree, Mitch.
It's gone in this fight too. It'll just look, that's a fair point as well by Jack. I agree. It's going to be really interesting, boys. Like Jay, I'd probably favour Whittaker myself as well, but and Mad Mitch has said the same thing. But yeah, look. I think the 10 or 12 rounds thing's massive. I honestly do. Like, I'm fascinated to see how it's all going to play out this week because there's a really good narrative in it. Because Ben, I'm sorry, but even though I probably would edge towards Whittaker, the 12 rounds without question is a Liam Cameron advantage.
I think Whittaker is a consummate professional, and I think he's good enough to be able to do the extra 6 minutes. I don't believe he's never not sparred 15 rounds. It's 15 and 16 rounds. Yes, not albeit under the lights as the main event against somebody that everyone's saying beat you. No worries, Antonio. I'll get some more in there for you this week. They'll be out to you early next week. Sorry, just doing pickled onion Space Raider deals on the side. You know what I mean? I've got to keep the lights on somehow. I just think that I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of this contractual dispute is propaganda and smoke and mirrors, and a lot of it's being dealt with behind closed doors. I also think that Whittaker knows exactly what he's doing, and if there's to go the extra 6 minutes, they're not going to go to Sunday night and then flip a coin and say, right, we're doing 12. It's done. Do you know what I'm saying? The treatment like we're all morons. But you might think it'll favour Cameron. But I also think that if Whittaker starts at a fast enough pace, because we're all saying he gassed last time, I think it'll favour him down the stretch. He's younger, he's fresher. Liam Cameron's not led the best of lives. He's not a natural light heavyweight. Muscly or not, he's still fleshy around the midsection. His highest division should be super middleweight, so he's carrying extra timber. Whereas Cameron is a big dude. I don't think he's big enough for cruiserweight, but he's definitely a natural light heavyweight that would have to boil down to get anywhere near 165. So I actually contradict what a lot of people are saying. I think the 12 rounds could favour Ben Whittaker, but we won't know that till Sunday, will we? We're not going to know any of this. It'll be thrown to the wayside until we see what happens in round one. And I think we'll know pretty quickly how the fight's going to play out.
Look, I also I do agree with you, mate. I don't see this narrative that 12 rounds favours Liam Cameron. I think it actually suits Ben Whittaker more. I mean, it will be known by now. Liam Cameron putting that tweet out yesterday is just another attempt at generating some interest and some vitriol behind Whittaker.
Yeah. I hear where you boys are coming from, but if it favoured Ben Whittaker, there would be no uproar about the contract being 12 rounds. There's somewhere within Ben Whittaker's camp or boxer that aren't comfortable with this fight being a 12-round fight.
Mate, and it wouldn't surprise me if it's on Boxer's side. We know how we've spoken about Boxer and how things are done by them in the past, and we're sick and tired of having to talk about it, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's coming from Ben. I think the one thing to say about Ben as well, I've seen him fight live twice, once at Wembley Arena and once at was on the CBS React 4 card. At Wembley Arena, you had everyone in the arena all night. They loved the showboating. He eventually got his opponent out of there, I think, in round 5. But it was the showboating and the razzmatazz and the stuff that irritates us that got the crowd going. Selhurst Park was the complete opposite. After 4 rounds of him in with that opponent, and you could see it was going to be the same, most of the stadium, including myself, were going to the bars to get a drink, get some food before the main event. He's very much a character that if he goes for the same style and it's going to look the same for 30, 36 minutes, he's very difficult to watch. We need to see him move through the gears and start showing his power, because there's undoubtedly power there from Ben Whittaker, but it's almost as if he doesn't want to show it. He's happy to go with tippy-tappy punches at times, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he's going to sit down. I think he's going to box. I think we'll still see some of the bolo punches and the alley shuffle because I think that gets him in his flow state. I think that's his movement. I think he likes that, but he can box as well. I've heard sparring stories, and I know sparring, but I've heard some from some pretty high up fighters that are pretty well known that have said he's mixed it with the best of them, and has been gut checked in the gym. So I don't believe that Bottle has got anything to do with it, and I believe he hits significantly harder than what we think. He doesn't have to. He's never had to fight, has he? It's the first time we saw him have to get involved in a fight. I don't think he was expecting it, and we can't sugarcoat him finding a way out. Whether it was his neck, whether it was his back, whether it was his ankle. Look, it's irrelevant. It pales into insignificance now because on Sunday night, allegedly, we're going to see a fight. We're going to see a fight, and unless it finishes in a draw, we're going to get a definitive answer on Sunday night as to who's better out of Liam Cameron and Ben Whittaker.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you on Whittaker's power as well. I don't think he's sitting down. I think he can find more power if he can, but he's not. Yeah. He's not been displaying it currently. It feels about right to me, Antonio. If I'm being honest, I know.
Does that mean Whittaker's the favourite?
Yeah, Whittaker's a heavy favourite, and history book says it's way off. Choi B in the building. I feel there's going to be Fabio Warley, Fraser Clark, close first fight, second fight, Justin will be easy. That's actually a fairly solid comparison.
The referee cheated Fraser Clark. Cheated him out.
Yeah, speaking of Fraser, he's fighting our man Ebenezer Teta. He's back. Tete's back. Tyler Denny's fighting. Elvis is back in the building.
Elvis is in the building, man. But we have to do a watch along for that. Elvis
it's not a bad card, is it? Look, it's
not the worst card. Look, the undercard fights aren't great, but like Cutler Eggington will be a belter. But
looking forward to that.
Yeah, the other Tyler Denny should just box Elvis over 12, I think.
Is Cutler Eggington on the Saturday night?
No,
it's on the Saturday.
No, it's on the same card.
Is that on the Sunday? So the boxer card's better than the matchroom card.
By a mile. It's not even close.
They should have gone up against him, to be
fair. The Sheffield card's not great, in my opinion. Let's talk about the Sheffield card. Dalton's fighting Mathieu Germain in the main event is what it is. Josh Warrington's fighting Khan, who Michael Conlon just fought. Struggled with. Yeah. Padley's making his UK matchroom debut on that card, isn't he? Who else is on it, Liam? Oh, Ajarko against Kelly.
That was meant to be, what's his name, wasn't it?
It's meant to be Ishmael.
Yeah. And he's injured, so Ajarko. I feel sorry for Ajarko.
I know, I do as well.
He just can't get fights. I think he boxed in Ireland, didn't he, other month? Or he boxed somewhere, didn't he?
Boxed on the top tier card at your call like 2 weeks ago.
And he just can't get a big fight. And Ishmael Davis, he got the big fight, didn't he? And this was his sort of comeback fight, I believe.
Yeah, it was.
And got injured. And Ajarko's only got the fight because he stepped in. And it's a tough fight. It's a very tough fight.
Yeah, I think that could be the pick of the fights on the matchroom card on Saturday, to be honest.
Undoubtedly. Look, the matchroom card, unfortunately, is much of a nothingness. I mean, Dalton Smith, there's still traits in the narrative of he needs to be active because of his injuries last year, and we don't want him to just sit around waiting. I kind of wish this was a better opponent because while Weezer went around, this is going to go similar, maybe 2 or 3 at most, if we're being really honest. This opponent isn't a name, doesn't punch, has never travelled before. I understand the narrative behind giving Dalton a fight, but surely even he would rather have someone a bit more live in there that might ask him questions than what we've got. But look, as long as we get Puello before the end of the year for Dalton Smith, I don't mind. We don't want to be seeing a Jack Hasserall situation.
Well, that's what he's doing. He's sitting on his title shot against Puello, isn't he? That's essentially what.
What happened to? He's going to be ringside when they fight, and he wants the winner, and we're going to bring that fight here, or he'll go to the States. But he didn't even go. So after all that bullshit, he didn't even attend. So I don't know what do you think? Look, and this is not me saying this, right? I'm playing devil's advocate. Do you think that they just think he's not ready, regardless of what they're telling us? Because that world title fight was there for him. All he had to do is turn up, sit ringside as the number 1 contender, the silver champion, or and He didn't. And here we are, 3 or 4 months later, he's fighting a nothing fight in Sheffield. And these are the types of fights that he could lose. I don't expect him to, but, you know.
Oh, it'd be a complete disaster if he did. You always run the gauntlet when you're defending a mandatory shot.
Yeah, I don't know if they don't think he's ready. Mate, it's just a really weird situation. Is it Dalton saying he feels like he wants to have this one more before he goes to make sure he is fully recovered properly from the injury? I just don't know, but
strange,
it's
isn't
a very strange. Yeah, it's a strange situation, and I mean the fact that they've gone to the Cannon Medical Park Arena rather than the Sheffield Arena. No disrespect, it's a cracking little venue, but I think tells you everything you need to know about this card. They know that they couldn't afford to go to that big space.
No chance.
Fill it with this, even with ticket sellers like Josh Warrington on the card. It needed to be in a small.
No, Josh Warrington's not taking any more than 300 or 400 people to watch him fight that guy.
Not for this opponent. Look, it's the card of the weekend, and look, we slag Boxer off plenty. The card of the weekend is from Boxer.
It's a good card, man. Solid.
Fraser Clark against Tete. Look, Clark will probably wants to go in against Adelaide after this, so this is a test for him. Tyler Denny coming back. We're going to find out if he's checked out after earning as much money as he did on his run he had in 23 and 24. And Lee Cutler, Sam Higginson. I mean, when Sam Higginson ever in a bad fight? That's the reality.
That'll be a belt, and Cutler and Higginson. I'm looking forward to.
It's got good fights from start to finish. It's one of them cards where, you know, I have dog breaks to take my dog out and you know, when certain fights are on. But this is a card that I'll want to watch from top to tail.
You've got 5 fights there, and they're 5 cracking fights. And I tell you one thing that has made me laugh. It's taken Fraser Clark the same amount of time to recover from his jaw injuries. It's taken Ben Whittaker's ego to get over what happened in Saudi.
Ooh, that's nasty, Leo. Don't worry, Ben.
Love it.
That's a good card, mate. And we got to give Boxer props because a lot of Boxer bashing goes on from us and from most of social media always seems to be on their back. So let's give them some dues.
Yeah, Ben's put his hand in his pocket for this card, to be fair to him.
2 Easters in a row, they've delivered a good card. Well, on paper, let's hope this one delivers.
Correct. Right, boys, let's just get into a couple of the talking points before we wrap up tonight then. So Usyk Dubois on July 12th. Coppinger's come out and said that it's in advanced talks. Warren and Aegis Kilmas and all those guys have said that it's not. So I don't know, but he works for the Ring. The Ring and Turkey are probably the guys who are going to be paying for it on a Riyadh card at Wembley. So I'd imagine that it's there or thereabouts. It's not really it's
in
not
poor
really
taste, man.
Secret, is it?
It's in poor taste. It's in real poor taste, man. You know, we know that deals get done behind closed doors and shit happens and people get ill and pull out fights and stuff, but it's a slap in the face to Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker, one of the nicest men in boxing. I'm not pretending I know him. I'm just going on what I see. Could be a prick behind closed doors, but look, he's fought everybody they've ever asked him to. He's lost big fights. He's won big fights. He's won an interim. He stepped up at the last minute to fight a guy that was the bogeyman up until then, right? Nobody wanted to fight Martin McCauley. Yes, he came in at short notice, but still, he took the fight after training for somebody in a completely different style and blasted him out of there. The least he could expect for that is to get a rescheduled world title bout. And instead, they've just gone, no, you're all right, thanks. Usyk wants his belt back. It's poor taste for me, man. Poor form. Real poor form.
Yep. Justice for Joseph Parker. Genuinely. Jay's just covered it, but it's more the fact that the fight was made against Dubois. Regardless of if it fell off at any other point, you'd be like, okay, fair enough. But it fell off 2 days before the event. We're still not 100% other than that fantastic pre-prepared, not read off of an auto cue statement that we got from Daniel Dubois a couple of weeks.
I have a doctor's note and I was poorly. Ask my dad.
Yeah, we've not heard anything from it. And now what we're just going to brush over...
Yes, not history vault, I agree.
Yeah. And now we're just going to brush over Parker just because Wembley Stadium will do good numbers for this. It shouldn't work like this. And another...
What about Cabiel as well? Who's Cabiel going to fight?
Yeah, well, Cabiel, yeah.
Parker, probably.
Yeah, they'll probably put him up against Parker, won't they? And then one of them's going to get shafted out a world title shot.
Yeah.
The first Usyk Dubois fight, Usyk won every round. Yes, the Queensbury narrative is it should have been stopped off of that punch in the 5th. Let's forget about that because Usyk won every other facet of that fight. Yeah. I don't actually think we've seen enough from Dubois since that Usyk fight to say that this result's going to be any different. The Parker against Usyk is a more intriguing matchup for me than than Usyk against Dubois in this rematch. I don't see it going any different way. And that's just me being honest. I just think, yes, I get it for undisputed, but surely the Parker fight would pose more questions for Usyk than Dubois.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bigger fight for Dubois in terms of money, financially, but it doesn't deserve it. He hasn't, like you said, other than beating Joshua and getting the belt that was a gift, he hasn't done anything to justify him fighting him again. I think Usyk will get him out of there inside 6 rounds this time. I think he'll beat the dog shit out of him this time. And really put a whooping on him. But I'm more upset by the disrespect, the blatant public disrespect that's been shown to Joseph Parker. What more can that guy do to get his shot? He had his shot. It's not as though he's got himself as the Mando and they've just sidestepped him. That's different. You become a mandatory and you get sidestepped and they do voluntaries and you get a recompense. No, he's had a fight. The fight's been postponed. It didn't get cancelled. It got postponed, right? So what now? You know, he spent shitloads of money in camp. He's prepared for Daniel Dubois. We were all expecting him to just say, right, we're announcing Parker versus Dubois for the Copper Box or whatever in May or June or whatever. I think we spoke about it a day or two after that fight. We said they'll make Usyk Dubois. They're not going to fight Parker now. And we were even questioning ourselves.
It's because Frank Warren and everyone was saying it as well. They weren't hiding it, were they?
No. Hiding in plain sight, man. It's disgusting.
Yeah, look, it is. You know, that's unfortunately the way the sport's rules.
I agree.
Although he's my favourite fighter, his resume is a bit annoying. Witherspoon, which is all then having rematches, like to me, it's different styles. I know what you mean. I'd love to see him fight Cabiel, to be fair, but ultimately, unfortunately for Cabiel, he hasn't got the backing and profile that Dubois has, or maybe even Parker. To be honest, he's probably the last one in line at the moment. Cabiel, unfortunately for him, he's just going to have to keep fighting and beating people like Zhang.
I swear to God, I would rather see Del Boy fight Usyk than Daniel Dubois. I swear to God, I would. Honest to God, I would. I think Derek has got more of a chance just going out there like a lunatic. He'd get KO'd in 3 rounds.
Derek gave him a proper fight when the fought.
He did. First time he did. But I don't know if Usyk were playing possum a little bit in that fight.
Usyk's good enough that he can play possum, I think, AJ took the fight after that. Archer's always giving him a right. Go there. I'll take the fight now. Get my unified mandatories out the way. And then Usyk just schools him. So, yeah, look, maybe there is a bit of that to it. Yeah, I agree with the hand history. But I think Parker is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest threat but I still think Usyk wins. But I know what you mean.
I'll also say this. Going back to Wembley Stadium, if that's where they're going to do this fight, is risky for me because Daniel Dubois sold against AJ because of AJ. I don't think Daniel Dubois and Usyk does 60, 70,000. Never mind talking about doing another 96. It's a very big space, Wembley. And what are you going to put on that undercard? Because again, you're going to need a big undercard. I think Wembley's a big risk. This is a fight. If they said this fight was going to Spurs as opposed to us getting Eubank Ben there next weekend, that would make sense. 60,000 Spurs, I think they do it for that. But Wembley, look, stadium fights are losing their appeal again. I mean, you got 2 on the same night on the 7th of June. You've potentially got this one. We've got one next weekend. They're kind of losing their shine against stadium fights. And look, we know why we're getting stadium fights more because Turkey's money is allowing promoters to do it. But don't forget where your bread and butter is, kind of thing.
Yeah, completely agree with that. So, yeah, look, I'd anticipate the announcement to be probably at some stage next week, judging from the noise that's coming out. What else did I have on the agenda to talk about, boys? What else has happened this week? Oh, yeah, I've glossed over it a little bit earlier, but Hamza joining Andy Lee. A great move for him, I think.
Yeah, another class move. Look, anyone that goes to Andy Lee, like we said, improves, gets better. one thing he's good at is improving a fighter's cardio and gas tank. And what's something we've questioned on Hamza Shiraz is his gas tank and is his ability to keep working deep in fights. So it's a good move. I mean, he's moving up to 168. So let's see what happens. Hamza Shiraz, for me, has questions to answer after the Adames performance in February.
Great move. I think it can only improve him in areas that he needs improvement. You could see that there were phases in the Adames fight where he could attack and he wasn't. He was sort of holding off, and I don't know whether that was to do with tactics or whether it was to do with the style or cardio or what, but he'll get stripped right back because his fundamentals are brilliant, but it's the add-ons that Andy Lee can add. Andy Lee was so underrated in terms of for counter-punching. He still holds one of the greatest comeback knockouts I've ever seen. When he was getting battered all over the ring by, was it Jackson?
Yeah, Jackson.
And he catches him with that counter left hook. But anyway, look, it can only serve to improve Hamza Shiraz and hopefully take him to the levels that we all expect him or expected him to reach. I'm really excited by his next fight.
Yeah, definitely. Any other goings on, boys, in the world of boxing that we haven't particularly covered?
Don't think we missed anything.
No, it hasn't been a great deal going on or announced. There's obviously a schedule coming up over the next couple of weeks. It's pretty special, if we're being honest. We've got the Spurs card next week with Eubank and
can't wait for that fight.
Yeah, that's going to be good. You got McKenna Smith on the undercard. Clark against Vidal, who's going to be decent as well. Yard Arthur 3. And then you've got the triple header the following week, which is going to be fantastic as well. In Nue, Canelo and Garcia Rowley card on the Friday night. Three huge fight nights on that weekend. And I think Kakachi and Wood is the week after.
Yep.
I believe that's that card, which, I mean, come on, Kakachi Wood's going to be phenomenal, isn't it? So really looking forward to that. Then it's Fisher Allen weekend, is it?
Yeah, then Taylor Esserman, and then Simpson in Barnsley and Wardley and Miller at Portman Road.
Yeah, well, that's look, May's going to be even. Well,
is that the real Paul Venice or is that a troll? I'll take that bet, Paul, if it is.
Over for it supporting McKenna. Good on you, Jack. Back in your own. Yeah, it's going to be a cracking fight, that. And Liam Beefy always brings it, doesn't he? Jay's looking for a bet, is he? Paul Venice in the house. Hope you're well, Paul. Liam Cameron for the win. Jay's looking for a side wager if you're interested.
Stop running from Brett May, Paul. We know you're running. I'm joking, by the way, for God's sake. Don't want Paul Venice on my case.
Yeah, it's the last thing you need.
Last thing I need. Join the queue, brother. Join the queue. It's a long one.
Thanks for stopping by, Paul.
Paul.
So, boys, next 5 or 6 weeks is going to be ridiculous. So we moaned a little bit about. No, it's Paul Venice, mate. There you go, Jay.
Oh, shit. You do know I'm a comedian, don't you, Paul? I can't fight sleep, brother.
Love it. Good man, Paul. So when's Tio versus Bobo's predictions coming? They'll come
week of the fight, probably.
Week after next Hand History Vault, they'll come. Look, that's going to be a packed week for us. That's going to be like a Feb 22nd week where we're probably going to be doing predictions most days because there's 7 or 8 massive fights.
Oh, shit, it is him as well.
Oh, shit. Jay's in trouble now. Sorry, Paul. Sorry.
I won't be here for episode 35, boys.
Yeah. Been nice knowing Jay. We're thankful for his contribution.
A lot of love, mate.
No, thanks for tuning in, Paul. Much appreciated.
Thanks, Paul.
Our top man, Paul. Really appreciate that, mate. That's very kind. If you'd love to get you on for a chat at some point.
Get me followed, Paul. Jay's Fight Talk. We'll get you on the channel, brother.
Yeah, man, we'll get you on. That'll be brilliant. Top man. Big fan of Smith too. Jackson kind of on the fence. Yeah, look, Beefy's a legend, but be good for McKenna if he could get it done because Beefy's probably a little bit past his best. So
I think he's got the fight at the right time. But listen, Beefy is realistic, and I think after what happened in the Eubank 2 fight, I don't think he'll take an unnecessary risk, and I don't think his brothers would allow him to. So he must think he can win this fight. And I think if Liam's got anything near what he had before, then McKenna's in. We'll see if McKenna's the real deal. If he beats Liam Smith, albeit an aged Liam Smith, that is a fantastic win. That is a pick 'em fight for me. They're both sort of differing ends, but if they meet at the right time, then yeah. Take it easy, Paul.
It's good matchmaking. Yeah, cheers, Paul. Take it easy.
Cheers, Paul.
I hope to see you soon. All right then, boys. I guess we'll leave it there for now. We'll do Whittaker Cameron and Dalton Smith's your man predictions tomorrow. Liam, your show's out on JFT tomorrow with the predictions, so make sure you go and check that out tomorrow on JFT. Saturday we'll cover Dalton Smith. Sunday we'll most definitely cover
absolutely
Ben Whittaker. That's a very big bonus for us getting Sunday night boxing Easter Sunday. So can't wait for Sunday. Saturday I'm maybe not as enthused about, but look, here we go. Look, Jack, we do it every week, my man. So go for it. It's great, interacting with everybody. At some point, we'd love to have you on doing it over here as well, mate. So yeah, look, go for it, Jack. You'll get some good viewership. The channel's growing, so make sure you get it done, mate. But yeah, any final thoughts, boys?
No, I'm just excited for the weekend. Cannot wait.
Yeah, echo that. Very excited for this weekend, and it just gets the ball rolling. I feel by the time we're done with the main event on Sunday night, we're going to be well set up for the 5 or 6 weeks that follow.
Yeah, that's going to be huge. Yes, can't wait. DJ Pat, hope you're well over there in Sweden, my friend. We'll see everyone tomorrow. Thanks to Jay and Liam, as always, for joining me. Thanks to... no, you're all right, Pat. Don't be silly. Mate, appreciate your support, as always. Thanks to Pat, Jack Absolute, Paul Venice, Hand History Vault, Choi
Mad
B,
Mitch,
Antonio, the Mad Mitch TV, Humble Apple Crumble, and anybody else that I missed. I don't think I did miss anyone. We'll see you this time next week for MPP. DJ Pat, see you Saturday, Pat. Take care, mate.
Pat.
Definitely, Jack. 100%. We'll have to get that locked in the diary, my friend. But yeah, take it easy, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll see you tomorrow anyway.